Annie had an earache on a Saturday of all days. So her mom brought her to Minute Clinic at CVS, where you can see a provider, fill a prescription, and grab essentials like pain relief products, all in one visit. Even on evenings and weekends. You can even see us online with telehealth options. For quality, affordable care on your schedule, visit Minute Clinic at CVS. That's healthier made easier. Services vary by location. See minuteclinic.com for details.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Good morning, Hoop Ballers, and welcome to another edition of Hoop Ball's DFS Today. This is your Saturday, April 18th edition, and I am your host, Santino Cacone. And we have a nice 5-game main slate with a solid early afternoon showdown, or I should say late afternoon showdown slate here. A good one for you after a whopper of an 11-day Friday basketball games. This is going to be a nice one and refreshing break. We get to dive into it. We have some good plays out there, but 6 of these 12 teams are on the back end of a back-to-back. That will be the Jazz in the showdown slate, the Pistons, the Wizards, the Bulls, the Grizzlies, the Spurs, and the rest of the other 6 teams are on nothing. But we do have some major injury news to watch. Anytime you have a bunch of teams on the back-to-back, half of the teams on the back end of a back-to-back, definitely going to keep an eye on that injury report. We did have some major things happen today. And before I get into that, I do want to give a shout-out over to our guys over at MyBookie, simply the best sports book out there. And it's as simple as signing up, entering the promo code HOOPBALL, that's HOOPBALL, and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. They have a fully fledged casino platform that I myself very much enjoy, along with obviously all your sportsbook stuff. They have great odds and great odds boost stuff. They have everything in there that you'll need. Prop bets, anything that you like to do in casinos, they have it there at the tip of your finger. So again, head on over to MyBookie if you want to add a little excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. Bet with the best, bet with MyBookie, and enter that promo code HOOPBALL. I also want to give a shout out to our guys over at Manscaped. If you're not familiar with them, they are the world's most trusted company for men's below the waist grooming, and they make for great gifts. They have great products. If you're not familiar with the Perfect Package 3.0, you are missing out. It comes with the Lawnmower 3.0, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, a Manscaped Boxers, a travel bag, a t-shirt, all these goodies and more. And you can get that and 20% off free, or get 20% off and free shipping with the Perfect Package 3.0 or any purchase if you enter the promo code HOOPBALL20. That's HOOPBALL20. Again, that's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com by using the promo code HOOPBALL20. So head on over there and do check it out. Now we'll get back to the slate. As I was mentioning, there was a lot of shifting and whatnot in the slate. And before I get to the main slate, we'll just stick to the showdown slate. We'll go really quickly on that one. But we lost Donovan Mitchell. He got hurt on Friday. Don't have an exact injury. It looks like a sprained ankle. That's what is being reported. We don't know how long he'll be out, but he is almost certainly not playing in this game, which shakes a lot of things up. Derek Favors missed Friday's game, and Jordan Clarkson returned. But him, along with Mike Conley, are prime rest candidates. Mike Conley has been resting on a lot of back-to-backs. He did play one recently, so you could see that. He played one on the 7th and the 8th, so potentially he could play again with no Mitchell, but he is a rest candidate. And Jordan Clarkson missed about a week of basketball, slightly over a week. and just came back on Friday, so I don't know if he'll be ready to go again on today. And then on the Lakers, you have a laundry list of an injury report. We have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jared Dudley, all out. We have Andre Drummond, Kyle Kuzma, Wesley Matthews, Dennis Schroeder, all probable, and Markieff Morris and Marc Gasol questionable. Morris missed the last couple games. Marc Gasol dislocated his left pinky finger, or fractured it, I think. So we'll see if he's ready to go in that one. Now we do have an injury, or we do have a spread for this game, an injury report. Just read it off. Yes, we do have an injury report. We have a spread for this game, and it is the Jazz are favored by 10.5 points on the road, and the total is 219. Again, this is the Jazz at the Lakers, and this starts at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a showdown slate. I'm not huge on showdown slates, so I would rather, for me personally, I'm just going to wait for the 5-gamer tonight, but we're here. We'll go through this fairly quickly. On the Jazz side, I pretty much like their top 5 guys. There's no Mitchell, so there's a lot of usage to go around. I don't know who's actually going to be in the lineup and who's not, so there's that as well. But without Mitchell, I mean, you can see either Clarkson or Ingles getting the start, probably Ingles. You can see Mike Conley, Ingles, Clarkson, Bogdo, even Gobert getting extra shot attempts. So those are all the guys I like. I think Bogdanovich is my favorite of this group. He's just the most pure scorer of them. He's been playing pretty well lately. He's taken 16, 14, and 18 shots the last couple games, bringing back good returns. And he is the cheapest among that crew also. So if you put him in your captain spot or not, or if you just play him at utility, very good value. Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, like both of them. Pretty decent matchup. I did mention at the top that one of them or both of them could potentially miss, so we'll have to figure out which one or if any miss this back end of a back-to-back. Obviously, if one misses, the other one gets a big bump, as do a couple other guys. But keep an eye on that. If they both play, I still think they're both in play for me. Joe Ingles probably draws a start at 6'4" as a utility. Solid. And Rudy Gobert at 9K. I'm just going by their utility price, not everybody's captain price, just everybody's utility price. Rudy Gobert at 9K. I mean, he has a good matchup here. So if you're going to go with you're going to have to go with a lot of people on. I mean, there's 6 spots, and I would load up more on the Jazz side of the ball. I think they have the better price points. On the Lakers side, big list on the injury report. There's only a couple guys that I do like on this side, depending on if we do have people missing. But I like Andre Drummond at 7'6". He's good enough to go. I know he's been playing really bad, but he should still see 20-plus minutes. He's always a threat to be a permanent monster as long as he's healthy enough to do so. And I can't see him taking 3 and 7 shots again like he did the last 2 games. I think I like Talen Horton-Tucker at 6'6". Markieff Morris, if he misses another game, Tucker's going to draw the start, and he's been playing pretty well. They need his offense, and if he's going to see 27 minutes again or starting job, I had a really good game in the last one. He could duplicate that to some degree, and I like Trez as well at 6K. Whether Drummond plays or not, he should see extra minutes. I think Marc Gasol isn't going to play, and if Drummond plays, he's probably out of the rotation anyway, even though he's been playing well. But Harrell's a guy who can put up some solid numbers, and then he has the bonus if Drummond gets scratched late again. Those are the guys I'm looking at in the showdown slate. And now let's move on over to the main slate where I know myself, I am excited a bit more than the showdown, which I'm probably just going to leave alone as long as we have a regular slate to go to. And we have 4 of the 5 games on this late slate we have spreads for, and 5 of the 6 overall we have spreads for. So that's good looking for now, but we don't have a ton of injury news because there are a lot of back-to-backs. The first game on the docket, and all these games, they start at 8 p.m., so a late start time. Then we have one at 8:30, or two at 8, one at 8:30, one at 9, one at 10. So a later start time, but kind of condensed there. The first game on the docket of the main slate is the Detroit Pistons at the Washington Wizards. Both teams, as mentioned earlier, are on the back end of a back-to-back. So we don't have injury reports for either. But I can tell you that Davis Bertans missed Friday's game. And pretty much anybody with a pulse that's played in the league more than a couple years, 2 years, missed on the Pistons side. So we really, I personally don't have an idea of who's going to be in, who's going to be out, and on a given day for the Pistons. They are tanking, and they are letting their young guys play, and they're just every other game. It seems like a bunch of people are missing, and then this one we saw Killian Hayes, Diallo. Those two guys are definite rest candidates on the back end of the back-to-back, even though they are young. And even though they are part of the team's future, they haven't been playing back-to-back, so that's certainly new, a situation to monitor for both of those guys. And Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, Corey Joseph, Wayne Ellington, Dennis Smith Jr., Roddy McGruder, all missed this past game. And so even more news to keep an eye out. Diallo, he was listed out, then in, then out. His injury status is kind of really weird. So he actually was going to play, and then he got ruled out last minute with a knee inflammation. So, again, not only rest candidate, but actual injury candidate as well. But I'll just get into it. There is so much uncertainty doing these two teams, or this team especially, so early. But we do know if people play and whatnot, there's different things to like. If Jeremy Grant plays at 6,500 in this matchup, sign me up. I mean, this is a guy that was near 8K and even above 8K for a portion of the season, but near 8K for a large chunk. And 6,500 is just way too cheap for a guy with this talent level and this type of matchup. The Wizards play at the fastest pace in the league and aren't the greatest at defense. So sign me up if Jeremy Grant plays. If he doesn't, and there's a bunch of people missing again, Josh Jackson at 5,100 is a really good play to me. He just dropped 29 points on Friday, but even when his shot's not falling, if there's so many people out, he becomes a de facto number one option, and that's where I'll be looking if Grant doesn't play. If Grant plays, I like Grant more, and it's not a big jump in price. It's $1,400, but not as big as it needs to be there. Another guy like Isaiah Stewart, coming off a monster 15-point, 21 rebound, 50-point DraftKings game. He might not see that again. Yeah, I doubt he'll do those numbers again. Mason Plumlee probably plays in this one, so you can expect a little less from Stewart. But even still, this is a good matchup. Anytime a center sees the Wizards on the calendar, they're smiling from ear to ear. And he's taking more minutes from Mason Plumlee anyway when Plumlee plays. Obviously, that limits his upside, but at 4,600, it's still a solid price point to bring back value in this particular matchup if Plumlee plays. If Plumlee doesn't play, he's just going to be super chalky and got to eat the chalk at that point. Just too good of a value. Another guy like Killian Hayes. I mentioned earlier, I don't know if he even plays in this game because it is in the back end of a back-to-back, and they have been resting him on one end of a back-to-backs lately. But at 3,400, his price hasn't moved yet, and he's beaten it. He's gotten 22 points 2 games ago. He got 36 points on Friday. Not scoring the ball a ton, but he's doing a lot. He had 5 steals. He's getting defensive numbers. He's getting assists. This is a very good matchup, fast-paced, should fit his style. If he plays in this one and Dennis Smith Jr. doesn't play, pretty good. If Hayes sits and Smith Jr.'s back or both of them are out and it's just Corey Joseph and Saben Lee, I don't mind taking stabs at either of them. This is a team that you're going to get pretty good value on. We just don't actually know who's going to be in the lineup and who's not going to be in the lineup at this particular time because they are tanking and they're ready to play their young guys and rest anybody at any given moment. So that definitely keep an eye on them because there is a lot to like there, though. On the Wizards side of the ball, got to keep an eye on Bradley Beal. He just returned from injury not too long ago, but he missed a back-to-back recently. He returned about a little over a week ago after missing about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Missed the back-to-back on the 9th and the 10th, so he might not play in this one. But my gut feeling right now is that this team is tied for a playoff spot right now, tied for the 10th seed all of a sudden after winning last night. So they might play him in this one. And if they play him, I think Westbrook and Beal both make solid options on this slate. I mean, they're playing a Detroit team that's ready to play all their backups, ready to play all their young guys, and can be scored upon. So I think I don't mind going to either of them. I would prefer Beal just because you get that $2,200 price decrease. But Westbrook is so safe. I mean, I think he can put up a triple-double on pretty much anything in the world right now. So if you want safe, go Westbrook if you have the money. And we probably should have the money on this slate. But Beal, to me, I really like that value. Outside of that, Daniel Gafford. He played 26 minutes on Friday, and it was only a matter of time. He didn't get the start, but it's only a matter of time before he becomes the starting center on this team. I think he would have played more minutes if he didn't have 5 fouls on Friday. And even still, he put up 18.7 boards, 4 blocks. This guy is easily the most talented center on the team. And again, it's only a matter of time before he runs away with that job. So at 3,500, we got to attack that for that price point while we still can. I love that play here. And that's it for the Wizards. Moving on to the next game. This is the only game we do not have a spread for. It is the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Chicago Bulls. We don't have anything for that. And we do have a slight injury report. The Bulls don't have one because they are on the back end of a back-to-back. But Thomas Satoransky missed the last game on Friday, and Zach LaVine is out for 10 to 14 days. On the Cavs side, Damian Dotson and Dylan Windler are both out. Not anybody big. We'll start with the Cavs since they are the away team. And my 2 favorite plays on this team are both guards, Sexton and Garland. You can't attack the Bulls in the backcourt, and especially with no LaVine and possibly no Satoransky. We'll probably get a Kobe White start again if they both miss. And if Satoransky does come back, we still might get a Kobe White start. And we know Kobe White can't guard anybody, really. He's been getting torched all year. And this backcourt in general has been getting torched all year. So at 6,700 for Garland and 7,500 for Sexton, I think they're both very good plays in this slate. I lean Garland, and more so if Satoransky misses. But don't mind either of them. I think Sexton is going to score a ton of points. He's just not doing a ton of other stuff to bump that up. Even on the 15th against the Warriors, he scored 30 points, actual NBA points, and only had 39.5 fantasy points. Garland's doing a little bit more to where if he doesn't drop 30, which he could, that he's still bringing back value with the rest of his game. That's pretty much it on the Cavs side. On the I forgot to we do have a spread on this game. I'm sorry. The first game is the one that we didn't have a spread for. I forgot to mention. My bad on that one. The Bulls are 1-point home favorites, and this is the lowest spread by far at 212 of the 4 that we have on the late games. My fault. I missed out. I forgot the first game was the one that we didn't have a spread for. Okay, then. We'll go back to the Bulls. We know LaVine is out. Satoransky is probably questionable after missing the front end of a back-to-back. Knowing that, Kobe White at 5,200 is a great play. Whether Satoransky plays or not, they need this guy's offense. He played 33 minutes without Satoransky, dropped 27 actual points, 45 fantasy points. Even if Satoransky does play, I think it's going to take Garrett Temple started. he probably won't start, or if he does, a lot of his minutes are going to go away in that he received in that Grizzly game. That was 25. Kobe White should still see 30 minutes, and he is easily the best scorer on this team in the backcourt. Without Levine, I don't think it's close. There's not many options at the guard rotation to score the ball, and Kobe White is the best to do it. 5,200, fantastic price. Vooch is a solid price at 9.8. He is one of the more expensive plays on the night, the fourth highest paid guy, priced guy on the slate. But with no Levine, he is the centerpiece of the team again. We saw what he did on Orlando. He dropped 53 points on Friday, but we saw what he did on Orlando when he was the clear centerpiece. And we know this guy can drop 50 and score. So at 9,800, he is a solid play to me. Probably not my favorite spend up, but he's definitely in that in my player pool. Another guy I like. Well, we'll have to see what happens with the rotation and if Satoransky plays, if they keep a similar rotation. But Troy Brown Jr. is intriguing to me. I think he had a pretty good game on Friday. I scored 11 points, and I think he could steal some minutes from Temple and Valentine and Arcidio Kona and some of these guys. But at 3K, he's a shot that if I'm going to dig deep in at that minimum level price, he's the guy I would take it at. He played 19 minutes on Friday. I think that could jump up. And without Levine, they need another playmaker in there that can also stop someone. So he's a guy that I'll take a chance on in GPPs. The next game of the night is the only game in this main slate that is nationally televised. So that'll tell you that it's a good matchup, and it's probably going to be a little bit higher owned because people like to roster guys in those nationally televised games. And this is the Golden State Warriors at the Boston Celtics. The spread for this game is 229, or the total is 229, and the Celtics are 3.5-point home favorites. On the injury report, we have Evan Fournier and Robert Williams out for the Celtics, and the Warriors have neither of these teams are on the back end of a back-to-back, and this is the only game that features two such teams like that. I'll start with the Warriors. Here, I only like a couple guys that I feel really comfortable with. Steph Curry is one. He is on a heater, and he's just ready to go. I know last time they faced this team, he dropped a whopper of a game. He scored over 73 points, fantasy points, 38, 11, and 8 he did with 3 steals. There was no Marcus Smart, so temper your expectations a little bit. But Steph Curry is feeling himself right now, and he is on. And he was talking and joking, but he was talking about Klay Thompson and his records. I think it's a little bit more than lip service, personally, and I think he wants to beat those. And what better time to beat some records than on a nationally televised game at the TD Garden? So 10-3, even though Marcus Smart is going to be playing in this game, I think Curry's on a heater right now, and he's out of the guys in the 10K, he's where I'd like to go the most, even though pretty much everybody in the spend up category is in a good matchup. Outside of him, I'm looking at Kevin Looney, 3,900, starting center. He played 28 minutes in the last one, 22 before that, 31 before that, grabbing rebounds. There's no Rob Williams. It's just Tristan Thompson. You can score on Tristan Thompson, 3,900. You can go down there. And Juan Toscano Anderson. The Celtics are short in the front court, and they're probably going to be playing smaller. They just got released Mo Wagner, so they got even smaller there. Toscano Anderson can see some center time, some power forward time in smaller ball lineups. He played over 30 minutes in that last game, and he's only 3,600. So you can see him playing a ton of minutes, and another guy that you can feel okay with if you're going very stars and scrubby. Another guy that under that 4K mark that you can throw in your lineup. On the Celtics side of the ball, I'm digging some Jaylen Brown here, 8,300. I wish he didn't just drop 40 points because he's probably going to be higher owned than I would like. But I like his matchup in this one a little bit more than Tatum, and you get a solid discount on here. And I like the other guys over the 10K mark, 9.5K mark, so I want to save a little bit money there. But Brown's looking at himself, and they're looking at a solid matchup here. So I'm going to take him while he's hot. Kemba Walker's in a solid matchup, but I prefer Marcus Smart of the two. This is a game that Marcus Smart probably gets up for. And I think he's going to score the ball a little bit more than he has, and he's been scoring in the mid-teens for quite a few games now, racking up assists, getting steals. He's been playing pretty well, and I just prefer him a little bit to Kemba Walker at a similar price tag. But I don't dislike Walker either. I just like other point guard options. And Tristan Thompson would be the other guy on this team that I'm looking at. No Rob Williams, really no front court depth behind them. 4,500. Even if he plays another 25 minutes or so, this is a matchup against Looney that he could do good in and easily bring back value. So another cheap option that we have on this slate. Let's move it on to the next game that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the Memphis Grizzlies at the Milwaukee Bucks. The Grizzlies are on the back end of a back-to-back, so we do not have an injury report for them. The Bucks do have Dante DiVincenzo as out. For the Grizzlies, I'll just say who they had out on Friday. It was Justice Winslow, Brandon Clark, D'Anthony Melton, Jaren Jackson Jr. We have a spread for this one, and it is the highest of the four that we have. It is the Bucks are 9.5-point home favorites, and the total is 236.5. I'll start with the Grizzlies. And the last time they played, and the only time they played the Bucks, John Morant, Dylan Brooks off, and I like them again. Ja is only 7K, decent matchup. I like him. I don't think he's going to go off and put up 51.5 fantasy points again. Drew Holiday is there now, and he's healthy. He wasn't on the last time these guys played. He played, but it was one of those low minute games where he was just getting back. Is never shy about shooting, and with Ja being checked by Drew for the most part, Brooks should have free reign to shoot the green light, and he's never shied away from the green light. He did just drop 32 points on the Bulls on Friday, so his shot's falling. He shot 12 of 19. I wish he didn't drop 32 the night before. Maybe his ownership climbs up, but maybe it doesn't because people are going to look at Ja. And I like both, but I would prefer Brooks at 1,600 less. I think it's a solid discount there, and he's going to be in a good matchup to shoot. And Grayson Allen's the other guy. If the wings stay injured, Grayson Allen only shot 3 of 9 in this last game, scored 11 actual points, 20 just under 21 fantasy points. But again, another guy that shoots threes. He shot, just to show you how many threes he shoots, he took 9 shots in the last game, 7 from 3. 13 shots the game before that, 11 were from 3. 10 shots the game before that, 9 were from 3. So you get the idea. He takes a lot of threes. The Bucks let opponents shoot a lot of threes. That's a match that fits Grayson Allen at only 4,200, especially if everybody misses again. On the Bucks side of the ball, I think we can take a look at Giannis. I didn't have a great game in his first game back. Only played 25 minutes after missing nearly 2 weeks. But he should probably play a little bit more in this game. Wouldn't be my favorite spend up just because you still have that nerve that those nerves that maybe he doesn't play a full complement minutes yet, and we have Westbrook and Curry in that Super Saiyan over 10K range too. But he still makes my player pool because he's Giannis, and he had a really good game when he played these guys before. I also like Chris Middleton, 8,400. I think the matchup just dictates my liking for him. Wish he was back near that 7-8 price tag range, but unfortunately it's a little bit higher this game. He's been playing pretty well outside of that last game against Atlanta. He had multiple games of over 20 points scoring. He's racking up assists lately, getting rebounds. If he just pitches in a couple stocks, it's been a good matchup. I think he gets more shots than he took in the last one. In the first game that he played against these guys, he scored 44 fantasy points. So I just think this is a good matchup for him. And if Brandon Clark misses, it makes it even a little bit better. He could play some power forward in different lineups. The last guy I like on this team is Pat Connaughton. With no DiVincenzo, he's not going to start, but he'll see extra minutes. Bryn Forbes isn't great. It depends on the lineup. They could play small. They could play big. So could the Grizzlies. There's many different lineups that you can throw at these teams depending on who's missing on the Grizzlies. But I like Connaughton to play over 23, 24 minutes. And 4,300 is a solid price point there. That's it for that game. The next game on the slate is the last game on the slate. It starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is the San Antonio Spurs at the Phoenix Suns. The Spurs are on the back end of a back-to-back, so we do not have an injury report for them. And the Suns have not issued an injury report, but they did say Abdel Nader remains out for Saturday. That's probably it. The spread is 9.5, with the Suns being 9.5-point home favorites, and the total is 231. So we have three big totals, and then that Cavs-Bulls game very low at 212. And then we don't have anything for the Pistons-Wizards yet. On the Spurs side, really don't like anyone. It's just a tough matchup. I think everybody's fairly priced. Not that I hate him. I like the alternatives. If I'm going to go anywhere, I would go with Patty Mills at a very cheap 3,400. I do think we have better, cheaper guys that I would rather prefer, but I'll just throw him in the mix as well. He blows up on certain occasions and didn't take shots at him. Like I said, though, he's not my favorite even in that price range, even though it's only 34. He's not my favorite over there, but I'll keep him in to just keep someone on the Spurs. On the Sun side of the ball, similar thing. I'm not in love with in particular, but I do think Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder, who have been kind of underwhelming lately, they make my player pool. I think we could see something here for them with the small ball lineups that the Spurs play with. This game is not one that I really want to attack, as you can tell, but I will take some shots at Bridges and Crowder on this side, and then I'm going to leave the rest alone a little bit. I'm just not in love with everybody's price tags on each team. All right, that does it for our main slate. Before I head on out of here, I do want to throw out my tiers for you guys, and I will just do one. For the expensive tier, I will throw in Steph Curry there. For the things I mentioned, I know that he'll see a heavy dose of Marcus Smart, who missed the first meeting between these guys, where Curry dropped 73 fantasy points, but he should still be able to do damage, and he's just in a zone right now. So I'll ride it until it falls off. On the mid tier, there's a few guys I like on the mid tier. Yeah, there's quite a few. I'll do it as if there are two of us. But Jeremy Grant, if he's in, 6,500 is way too low for that matchup. If he's out, I'll give in a replacement just in case he doesn't play, because we don't know about the Pistons. But Kobe White, him and Dylan Brooks I like, but I'll go Kobe White, 5,200. Whether Sato plays or not, White's staring at like a sizable role on a team that desperately needs him, that has nobody in the backcourt outside of him that can create their own shot and score the ball. So they desperately need him without Zach LaVine. In the value tier, I will stick in that first game, and I'll throw a higher value tier in Isaiah Stewart. We have to keep an eye on the injury report, obviously, because if Plumlee plays, it limits his upside, but he still should bring back value. And if Plumlee sits again, well, I think we all know what his upside is now and what he's capable of. So definitely keep an eye on him, and he's 4,600. And a lower end guy, Daniel Gafford, is my favorite play under 4K. 3,500. It's only a matter of time before he gets the starting gig and the lion's share of front court minutes, and he kind of did that in this last game. Not the starting gig, but he played the lion's share of center minutes at 26, and that was with 5 fouls. So I think Scott Brooks has seen the light, and if we have to attack this price tag wall before it becomes a thing of past, or before it becomes a thing of the past. So those are my favorite plays, and of course we'll have to keep an eye on the injury report and whatnot, because some of these teams are just throwing everybody on there. I'm looking at you Pistons and see exactly what happens. But that's it for the early look. Thank you guys for joining us, and cannot wait to get on another slate of basketball. Have a good night, and I believe Mike should be on here tomorrow to break down that Sunday slate for you guys. Take care.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.